So now that you've watched the Ed puzzle and you've learned about closure, we're going to just talk about 3 properties that you're very, very used to, or at least have been in the past, in this section 5.5, real numbers and their properties. And the first is the commutative property. Whoops, keep getting too close to that arrow. And we have 2 forms of the commutative property. These are properties that are closed. So they're true for all real numbers, for any real numbers, A, B, and C. Oh, A and B. The commutative property addition says A plus B is equal to B plus A. And the commutative property of multiplication says A times B is equal to B times A. And those are super, super handy, especially if you're doing things in your head. So if you've got to add together 12 and 37 and 48 and 13, and you know you can add in any order you want, then you can add these together to get those 10s. You might remember how you used to do, like 8 and 2 will give me a 10, so 12 and 48 is 60, and then 7 and 3 also gives me a 10, so we can add those together just real quickly. 37 and 13 ends in a 0, so it's 50, and we can add together and get 110. That's a lot faster than me saying 12 plus 37 is 49. I can do that part in my head, but now let's add 48, and then let's add 13. It's not terrible, but using the commutative property makes it easier. That's especially true for multiplication. 2 times 8 times 5. If I can multiply in any order I want, I'd much rather multiply those together and then do that. That's much easier than doing it in order. 2 times 8 is 16, and then 16 times 5. It's just harder. So this idea of the commutative property, doesn't matter the order that we do it in, is great. It's not true for subtraction, though, so that's why there's not a property for that. Associative property is another one of those oldie and goodies for any real numbers. A, B, and C. There's an addition part. And it says A plus B plus C is the same thing as A plus B plus C. And here we are changing who's associating in the parentheses. The A and the B are associating, so we're doing those first. And here the B and C are associating. The order is not changing. It's A, B, C, A, B, C. Commutative property, the order changes. It's A and B and A. A, B, B, A. The order changes in commutative property. Think about commuting from your house to school. You go from house to school in the morning, and in the afternoon you go from school back to your house. It's the same route. Probably you take the same route, but the order is different. Associative property, the order is the same. We just change which 2 are associating in the parentheses. And it also has a multiplication counterpart. And it's A times B times C is the same thing as A times B times C. So just an example, 3 plus 4 plus 5 is the same thing as 3 plus 4 plus 5. And the associative properties also closed under addition and closed under multiplication. So here we do the parentheses first, Over here, we do the parentheses first, but on both sides we get 12. So it doesn't matter what order we do it. You just notice, or who we group with who. But 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. The order is the same in the associative property. All that changed was the placement of the parentheses. Then the last property, gosh, you've used it forever. It's the one we would think we use the most, even though we may use the others more. This is the one that we focus on more in math. It's the distributive property of multiplication over addition. So there's not a separate addition and a separate multiplication, because in the distributive property we do both. For all real numbers, A, B, and C, A times parenthesis B plus C equals A, B plus A, C. And we've done that forever. When you first learned it, you drew your little arrows to show I'm going to multiply by both. And then the last part of this video is just identifying properties. Example 2, identify the property, name the property, illustrated. Name that property. It's a little game show. Name that property. Da-da-da. So it's x times 9 equals 9x. Well, what happened? On both of them, we're multiplying, but the order's different. So it's like school to home and home to school. That's commutative of multiplication. B, we have x plus 3 plus 7 equal to x plus 3 plus 7. On this one, the order is the same. x3, 7, x3, 7. All that changed was who is associating in the parentheses. So that's the associative property. Be careful abbreviating that, of addition. And the last one, 3 times x plus 5 equals 3 times x plus 3 times 5. We recognize that in our sleep, probably. That's the distributive property. We usually just call it the distributive property, but it's technically the distributive property of multiplication over addition, because we're multiplying over two things that are being added. And I think that is it for today.